خمسة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome all of you wherever you are. Welcome you again with your program Fatwa Live that comes to you Monday, and this is the first part that comes to you from Masjid Mishka. The first question the brother's asking, I'm married and I have two children with my wife. Immediately after our marriage, my wife started working at a pharmacy, earning the same income as me. However, her busy schedule forces her to leave our young children at the daycare center and handle all the bills and groceries while she contributes nothing to our daily expenses. The monthly amount I pay to the daycare center is substantial. I asked her to take care of it as we are forced to leave our children at the daycare center due to her busy schedule at work. However, she declined, asserting that in Islam the father bears the responsibility for the child care and she bears no financial obligations. My finances are drying up, and while her savings are increasing every each month, she remains extremely miserly. Is her statement correct according to Islam? Can I, as her husband, prevent her from going to work and instead stay at home to spend time with our children? The answer, let's have the basic principles first, and then we'll talk about this situation. The woman should stay in her household to take care of her husband and her kids, and there is nothing wrong with her working outside her household when there is a need, with the Islamic conditions that it will be permissible work. It is according to the nature of the woman and the interest of the community and the natures. The consultation and the acceptance from both husband and wife from the interests of the household and the priority of the children in raising them and to take care of them and preferring over any other thing with the of course she have to live according to Sharia's rules, and she is independent about what she earns, and there is no right for her husband of what she earns except if she wants to give it or with an agreement, previous agreement with them. There's nothing wrong if they agree before the marriage or after, according to the choices that they come to them. So they will not be splitting from their financial situation. And from these arrangements about the expenditure, if they accept of participating of some expenditure from her husband, from what she missed from her staying in the care, taking care of her kids, or from what she had put from extra expenses because she is not. There's nothing wrong with that. With the stressing the importance that the expenditure it is on the husband, not the wife. But the wife needs to understand. She needs to accept to share in that, so she will not put her husband about asking her right, getting his right to keep her in the house and not to let her work because that's and something with his permission. So, my dear sister, you need to be wise. You need to understand because nothing forces him to pay for the daycare except you go to work. So you take that money from, and he take the expenditure of the daycare. This is not a fairness. So think twice about this, and I urge you to go back to your righteousness and ask Allah Azza wa Jal to allot in your brain and to show you the truth. So take care of it before he force you to stay at home. A question: if we during uh, traveling, can we combine Dhuhr and Asr and also Maghrib and Isha? What happened to the Sunnah after Maghrib and the Sunnah after Isha and Salat al Witr? Well, the answer, the traveler have the right to take advantage of the permission of the traveling. He could combine and shorten the prayers. Dhuhr and Asr and Maghrib and Isha, and the four prayers become two. Knowing that the shortening, it is a sunnah that is authenticated, and combined, it is something whenever there is a need. And if you are traveling, none of the sunnah that is known could stop except sunnah al-dhuhr and maghrib and isha. Anything from that, it is still from its authentication. It is sunnah for prayers, so the night prayer, including the witr, it is a sunnah for persons traveling and those who are staying. And the duha, same thing for traveler and the one who is residing. And the fajr also for both. So the only sunnah that is not uh, will will stop is the dhuhr, maghrib and isha. But it is recommended to take it and to take care of all the other sunnah. May Allah increase in your concern and knowledge. A question about the fidya of siyam. Do I have to do one-time meal to a poor person or two-time meals? How is it different from the kafara? And when does the kafara become mandatory? The fidya and the kafara, the difference between them. And is it you feed one day like you feed one time or twice in a day? The answer, the fidya on every day is feeding one time, one meal that is satisfied, or half a sa' of food. And in the fasting, that if somebody has intentionally had intercourse with his wife, that requires either freeing a slave. If you can't, then fast in 2 months continuous. And if he can't, then he's supposed to feed 60 needy from almost 1 kilogram, or a satisfying meal. The hadith that's authenticated from Abu Hurairah, who said, while we are with the Prophet ﷺ, a man came to him and said, "O Prophet of Allah, I am doomed." He said, "What happened? What's doomed you?" He said, "I had intercourse with my wife and I was fasting." He ﷺ told him, "Can you free a slave?" He said, "No." He said, "Can you fast 2 months continuous?" He said, "No." He said, "Do you find feeding 60 need?" He said, "No." So he ﷺ was quite there like that. He received some dates. So he told the person who asked him, he said, "Take it and give it a charity." He said, "Is there anybody more poorer than me?" Between no house that is more poorer than my household. So he ﷺ laughed until he could see his teeth, and he said, "Feed it to your family." So that's one of the things that require the kafara. Also delaying making up for Ramadan until the next Ramadan comes in. For each day is 1 kilogram almost, or one meal that is satisfying. And it is a question about the list that the husband they put when they first get married. Now there's a list what is not there, what he bought, and you found that there's like some gold that makes him broke, and there's one that make it easy to help the orphans to get married. Is that allowed, or shall we help the person, not the woman, to reduce this problem of people not getting married? Every person look at this situation from his own glasses, from their own side. First, the husband need to give his wife, of coming wife, a sadaq. It will be something completely owned by her, and he prepared the household without putting pressure on himself. What he can without over pressuring himself. So if we said the family not supposed to pay, that means they should not ask him to force him to make something over what he could burden. And Allah obligates you of what you could burden, not overburden you. The dowry, it is better to make it easy. There is no limit on the minimum or the high. He عليه الصلاة والسلام, even if it is a ring. Allah said, if you give them qantar, don't take it. It's clarified by the ayah that he forbid us from taking it. And it is recommended to make it easy, and it is better to the ease of her marriage. But what is known with the list, the matter goes back to what they agree. So they could agree that the list part of the dowry. So it would be for the wife, or they could use what each one of them shared in the household. Whatever she participates is hers, and whatever he put, it's his. So we tell them, agree on goodness, and do the covenant. It is required. And those who want to get married, he should be helped, whether it's male or female. They will be helped if we can, because the manner has changed, and the woman does not get married unless if she participates in this marriage one way or another, and that could be very hard for them if that's becoming a requirement to get her married. Allah said, and marry the ayam, the righteous. If they are poor, Allah will give them from His bounty. And the scholars, they said, if there is extra money in the zakah, then you put it for the person who wants to get married. The other question, to feed the chicken from the worms that comes from the ground, whether it is live or dead. The majority said it is pure of what they don't have blood, except for Shafi'i who disagreed. Ibn Qudama said anything that doesn't have blood that comes out, then is permissible. And he mentioned several. It will not spoil the water if it mixed with it. Another scholar said there is no disagreement except from what Shafi'i said from the two opinions that he had. And we have the saying of the Prophet ﷺ, if the flies fill in the container, then push him, dip him completely because there's poison in one of the wings and there is antidote in the other side. Ibn al-Mundhir said, it was authenticated that he alayhi salatu said that, and Shafi said, he said, didn't kill him, he said, just to dip him. And that's in any drink, cold or cold or whether if it is going to make it filthy, will not allow that to be dipped. And those worms, you fish with them, or the one that suck the blood also. It is authenticated that to sell it to get the benefit. It's just like fish. The other question, apartment that is available through lottery from the housing commission, they sell it in installments over 3, 5, or 7 years with increase of the interest. Is it allowed to buy it? The government is the one who gives with the increase. Of course, the bank that belongs to the government. If the seller is the one who sponsor, this is from the things are disputed because some who saw that it is some of they allowed, some they did not. And if it's not clear, then you should sustain from it. Same question was given to Amja, and scholars they are different in this matter. Some who stopped and some said it is allowed and some who said they abstain. And some who did not see it that way and some who stayed away from it, abstain. And talking about the foreclosure, the decision buying real estate from the banks that owns these state after the foreclosure for the ones who took them to pay their dues, it's an authentic, of self interpretation because you only do by signing two contracts, one selling and one that is a loan. It was given from the Fatawa committee in Amja, and they have different opinions. Some who allowed it, and some who did not see it, because these are those who said that it is just a selling in installment. They said it is allowed, and those who did not see it that way, they said it's forbidden. And some who abstained. So it's very hard to say it is forbidden. So it will be among the could be a choice that you could go to when things are complicated and there is no other alternatives. Also, buying estate from companies that have the loaning part. Buying the real estate from companies that sells it, that build it, and they have their own financial part. It is something that they allow because dealing with these companies, as we said before, It has two contracts: it's buying and sell, and loan. You have to verify first that those owns the part before they sell it. If it is like that, then you look at the dispute earlier. Because a lot of states they forbid you from owning the financial part and be a builder because you are given the loan and you evaluated because there is a conflict of interest with that. So it is proved that the builder they don't have the loan. People then careful because you're talking about the pure riba. As we said, it could be a way out for those who had desperate needs. And Allah knows the best. The last question we're going to conclude with. What ruled about living in the non-Muslim communities? It is okay to reside in a country that is not Islamic because of a beneficial, like to live with his religion in a place where you are oppressed for your religion. So you can stay as long as you can implement your religion, your virtue. So there's nothing wrong with living outside Muslim countries if you are safe in practicing your religion. But if you are weakened and you are stopped from establishing your virtues of worship, then it is required for him to migrate if he is residing or to stop going to non-Muslim countries. Because Allah said, those who the angels are taking their souls and they are transgressors on themselves. They said, what happened to you? They said, we were oppressed on earth. They said, wasn't Allah's land vast so you could migrate? These are the ones who's going to go to the hellfire. But the uh, the term that you indulge with the community, you melt down, some that is accepted, some that not. The respecting the laws that does not go against the Muslim belief, it is recommended. It is okay with the manners, with the communities, without getting in the way of those who disagree with the common law, taking the direction Allah Azza wa Jal who asks you to ask people with the debate and the good dialogue, and also to work with the others with the special interest, like spreading peace between communities and people, protecting the families from violence or the sexual misuse, or to uh, protect the rights of religion, also to stop against any religious hate or prejudice. From the meltdown that is not allowed is to, whenever you are doing it in your action and the thoughts, or the advices that we insist on obtaining, that the Muslims have to raise the generations on the spread of Islam by following the Quran and the Sunnah in their centers and in their Islamic centers. Also to taking care of their cultural virtues that participate in protecting the Muslim identity, and find leadership that will take care of their interest. maybe we have a little bit of time. We'll take another question. What is the role of the uh, abortion when the orphan or the baby is 105 years days, 105 days, and they are blind and the people are suffering? The answer: this is from the things are looked at. The, some who said that it is okay to do the abortion until the 120th day. Because with that one, after 120 days, then the soul will be blown, with the spirit will be blown in the body, and only for like life dependency is that it is allowed beyond that. Uh, And by the way, the difference between the calculations of the medical and the fiqh is 2 weeks, because the doctors they take from the last day of the period, and the we take from the time of uh, cultivation, fertilization. That's when we do. So they can take that, saying that it is allowed. If they are patient, it'll be better for them. And how many blind people who became leaders in the society? And nowadays, technology has helped a lot to make them excel in life. But if it is something 120 days, the stop uh, of it, of the portion, it is more better. We'll stop here, inshallah. We'll continue in an hour or so, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.